Here's Mitchell. I think that's a 2. Doesn't go. And now it's McBride getting Hull.
Yeah, that one might be a problem.
Indiana just taking shots to the face.
The Indiana Fever walked into Minnesota looking like a team being held together by duct tape. 5 key players already shelved, rotations shredded, and every possession feeling like a stress test. Caitlin Clark, out still nursing that stubborn groin. Sophie Cunningham done for the year. Chloe Bibby, Sydney Colson, Ari McDonald, all sidelined. And then there's Odyssey Sims, who laced them up on one good leg because the roster was that thin and the fight mattered that much. The payoff for that? A gut punch. Only the rule book's worst nightmares could deliver. Lexie Hull eats an elbow from Kayla McBride, crashes to the floor, clutching her face, and somehow the whistle lands on Hull. You could feel the temperature in the arena spike. You could practically hear Caitlin Clark watching, seething, asking the same question as every Fever fan. How does this keep happening? Let us know down in the comments below why you think the referees are blind against the Fever. Let's go.
And Hull is checking her jaw.
Let's see that one again. Kayla McBride goes up, grabs the board, and she wants to get free because Hull has her kind of wrapped, and boy, that's a hard swing. They're going to review it.
Start with the context because it matters. Indiana didn't just show up. Short-handed, they arrived. Hollowed out, Clark has been out more than a month. Sophie's season flipped by injury. BB's knee barking. Colson done with the ACL. McDonald shut down with the foot. That's a starting lineup worth of absences. Before the ball even tips, Odyssey Sims signed on a hardship deal. The backup to the backup to the backup point guard went from triage table to live bullets because there wasn't another option. That's not a scheduling quirk, that's survival basketball, and the cost of survival is heavy. Every drive demands extra effort. Every rotation is a half beat late because the lineups never played together, and every mistake gets magnified beneath a playoff race microscope.
The Indiana Fever's injury bug is getting into spooky territory. It seems like there's a new player every single day that's getting injured. Right now they have Caitlin Clark out, not sure if she will be returning this season. Sid Colson out with a season-ending ACL tear. Ari McDonald out with a season-ending fracture in her foot. Sophie Cunningham out with a season-ending MCL tear. And then just today, before the game, they announced that Chloe Bibby would be out with a knee injury, and basically they just said it's soreness and they're just playing it safe.
Injuries don't just strip talent. They pull the thread on structure. The Fever's guard and wing depth vanished overnight, which meant Lexie Hull and Kelsey Mitchell had to transform from scorers and stoppers into Iron Woman engines 2 nights earlier, also against Minnesota. Hull logged a career-high 37 minutes and poured in 23 points, not as a luxury burst, but because there was no safety net, no catch-your-breath substitution coming at the horn. She delivered because the team needed it. Now she was back in the furnace again. That's the reality of this stretch. Indiana isn't just playing basketball games, they're buying minutes against exhaustion.
Lexie, did you come into tonight kind of expecting to play darn near the whole game just with the injury situation and the personnel available?
Damn, you played 37 minutes.
I mean, you played a lot too, Kels. What did you play? 35. I mean, yeah, we're down people, so gotta suck it up, play a little tired a few minutes, and take in those timeouts as best we can. But yeah, I mean, we're down people, so everyone's got to do a little more.
The patchwork fixes tell the story. Shea Petty dropped in midweek and was immediately thrust into rotation minutes. Odyssey still clearly not at 100% handled possessions. Anyway, Aerial Powers, a late addition, got tossed straight into major minutes without a runway to build timing or trust. That's not plug and play. That's duct tape and determination. It's nearly impossible to build rhythm while you're introducing yourself in huddles and learning teammates' tendencies on the fly. Meanwhile, opponents like the Lynx don't need a cheat sheet. They exploit the seams and stress every mismatch.
We've had 3 players in the last I don't know how many days, and 2 of those players are point guards, so not really. But you know, at the same time, our ability to to make plays out of what we have, right? I think a lot of our spacing allows players to do what they do best, creates opportunities for them to be successful, and then it's just making the right reads and finding the right pass, on time, on target. And some of that is with experience with your teammates, and some of that is instinct. And so we are trying to do as much as we can to put players in position to use those instincts.
Credit where it's due. Kelsey Mitchell refused to blink. She fought through traps, hunted space, and stacked 26 points with the kind of shot making that screams, "I'll carry us if I have to." But the math of a short-handed team is cruel when the lineup around you is stitched together by necessity. Even superstar stretches meet a ceiling head coach Stephanie White called the night physical. That's charitable. This was a trench war played with a skeleton crew, and Indiana still threw punches. At this rate, the Fever.
The Fever are going to end the season with a completely different team than what they started the season with. And even the players that they're bringing in on hardship or that they're signing midway through the season, they're now going down with injuries. The season from hell would be an understatement on this team right now.
Which is why the officiating meltdown was gasoline on an open flame. Here's the moment. Hall is locked in guarding with her usual controlled aggression. McBride swings through and the elbow catches Lexie flush across the face. Contact to the head, defender goes down. Crowd winces. Textbook footage for a stop, a review, and accountability. Instead, the officials pinned the foul on Hall. The player who absorbed the elbow became the player punished for it. You could see the shock on the Fever bench. You could see Lexie's anger flash into laser focus, jaw set, eyes narrowed. That cold look that says enough.
Gonna look at it. So foul there on Indiana. On Hull there, but then that is a technical.
That is a technical. Dead ball, contact technical.
It's a little surprising to see so many of these happen in one game because...
Oh, and I don't like the way Lexie...
Then got it half right. The refs nudged the call, but stopped short of real accountability for McBride. It was a quiet admission that something wrong happened without the courage to name the culprit. Paul had visible facial contact. She went down. She needed a minute. Indiana still ate the punishment. Somehow the math of pain and penalty didn't add up. Don't call that a gray area. Call it what it was, a turning point that tilted the floor.
Every time a game happens in the WNBA, somebody's getting abused, somebody getting beaten, somebody is getting hurt, man. Somebody is getting hurt every game in the WNBA, and they just fail to realize this, fail to have any protocols on stopping the nonsense, man. My goodness.
Fans lit up social media because they've seen this movie too many times. One off. Mistakes become pattern recognition when the result always echoes in the same direction. When a Fever player is the one who hits the hardwood shove shoulder checks, forearm clears, Indiana somehow winds up on the wrong end of the whistle. It's a vibe the league should want no part of that. It's open season to it. Get physical with this team and the whistle will wink. With half the roster already in street clothes, swallowing those whistles doesn't just decide possessions. It invites more damage.
Boom! Right there. Oh my goodness. Boom! Right in the face, man. Right in the face. Now, like I stated, I get it. You might be mad that Lexie put her hand on your forehead. But fam, there is no reason for you to be throwing elbows to somebody's face like that. Come on, man. Throwing elbows to the face.
Throwing elbows to the face. Minnesota leaned into physicality. That in itself isn't villainy. Physical teams win in the postseason, but officiating is supposed to be the guardrail that keeps physical from becoming dangerous. On this night, the guardrail looked optional. Fever guards absorbed hits with no call bumps the other way, got rewarded. Stephanie White hinted that the game was called differently. She didn't need to be more explicit. The tape is when the standard shifts, depending on the jersey color. Fans don't see nuance. They see bias. Kayla McBride.
13 points for Kayla McBride. Hit Lexie Hull with an elbow. Foul on Lexie Hull. Hits Lexie Hull with an elbow, foul on Lexie Hull. I don't understand.
For Lexie Hull, who's already playing career max minutes under career max pressure, that elbow wasn't just contact, it was disrespect. She's a detailed defender, a smart cutter, a rhythm shooter who's worked her way into major minutes by doing the hard, unglamorous things right. Taking an elbow, getting whistled for it, and then watching the review shrug at reality. That's the kind of moment that hardens resolve from the sideline. She looked furious. Take abuse, get told to play through it, and watch the officiating manage the game while you manage bruises. If you're Indiana, you're done being polite about it.
This was intentional. Now, if it wasn't intentional, okay, give it a flagrant one. I understand it. She wasn't trying to do it. Cool. But this was intentional. All right? She had malice on the heart with this one. Bad intentions. Okay? She was trying to wreck some stuff up there doing this one. Hey, let's just keep it a grand, man. Let's just keep it a grand. Kayla McBride was trying to knock Lexie right on her booty cheeks, but she succeeded at, fam. Knocked her clean out. Look at it.
And Hull is not. Holding. Back during an interview after the game, she called for better officiating and league accountability. We put our bodies on the line, night in and night out. Hull said the best the league can do is to make sure all the players are protected, especially when the referees seem to be turning a blind eye on obvious plays. That's why the frustration is boiling over. The Fever aren't asking for charity, they're asking for consistency. Call the elbow the same way, no matter who wears it. Protect the space on drives the same way, no matter who's holding the ball. Don't punish effort on one side and reward contact on the other. If the league wants the best basketball, it has to protect players, especially teams running on fumes from injuries, so the product doesn't become a demolition.
Knocked her clean out, man. Oh my goodness. I mean, folded. Look at how her legs are folded right here. Come on, man. Knocking her clean out right here. That was bad intentions, dog. That was bad intentions. I don't care what anybody say, man. That was bad intentions, man. And the refs have to do something about it. You have to make sure that players don't feel comfortable getting out of pocket and doing things like that.
You'd expect a team missing half its roster to wave the white flag early, but that's not what the Indiana Fever did. Instead of folding, they pushed back with grit and defiance. Kelsey Mitchell once again shouldered the offensive burden, dropping 26 points and counter-punching every Lynx run. Until fatigue finally caught up with her, she was the lifeline in a game where every possession was a fight. Without her relentless scoring and rim attacks, often against contact that mysteriously didn't draw whistles, the Fever would have been buried by halftime. Mitchell's fire kept Indiana in striking distance, setting the tone for the rest of the squad to follow.
Indiana started this game 9 of 13, but has missed 4 straight until Shea Petty.
Then came the spark. No one expected Shea Petty, who had barely settled into Indiana before being shoved into major minutes, exploded for 16 points off the bench. That's not a hardship signing filling minutes, that's a lifeline arriving out of nowhere to walk into a locker room. Mid-chaos without chemistry, without rhythm and deliver like she'd been here all year proves just how badly Indiana needed every ounce of help and fans noticed. Petty's contribution was more than points. It was validation that even emergency players are willing to go to war when the Fever are under siege.
Reaction looked like it was a lot more violent than that. It still got to hurt, though. The pass from Williams. Oh, Collier is blocked.
Aaliyah Boston, as always, was the anchor on the other end. Doubled, shoved, and bodied all night. She still refused to cede control of the paint. Her work on the glass was relentless, creating second chances that Indiana's patchwork offense desperately needed even without gaudy scoring. Boston's calm strength grounded, a team being stretched to its breaking. Her presence was the quiet counterweight to all the chaos. A reminder that no matter how thin the rotation gets, the Fever still have one of the toughest bigs in the game holding the line. And then there's Lexie Hull. Fans still hadn't stopped talking about her gutsy 23-point performance 2 nights earlier, a career night born out of necessity where she logged 37 punishing minutes because nobody else was left. That game proved she was ready to step into whatever role this injury-riddled team needed. Now, after taking Kayla McBride's elbow to the face and being wrongfully whistled for it, Hall's frustration boiled over. This wasn't just about one call. It was about carrying too much for too long, only to be punished for playing hard. Her anger echoed through the fan base if Indiana's players are already being driven into the ground. How dare the officials tilt the scale further against them?
Carrington got a piece of it. Powers gets it back. Second attempt, up and in. And she's fouled.
The basket, and then she's just fighting and battling for her shot.
Aerial Powers, another late addition, asked to provide minutes after Cunningham's season-ending injury. And you start to see how every Fever player is being stretched well past their natural role. None of this is ideal. It's survival basketball. Yet somehow they've kept themselves alive in the playoff picture by leaning on unlikely heroes, patchwork lineups, and pure fight. That's why fans can't stop imagining what happens when Caitlin Clark finally returns. Because if this patched-together group with emergency signings and walking wounded can hang with playoff teams, then a healthy backcourt changes everything. Right now, Indiana is clinging to 8th place, their postseason hopes dangling by a thread. Every game is playoff-level intensity, but everyone knows there's one player who can shift the balance. And her name is Caitlin Clark. And there she was in Minnesota. Not cleared to play yet, but finally back in practice, gear moving with her teammates again. That sight alone electrified the entire franchise. After weeks of watching helplessly, seeing her on the court, even in a limited capacity, was like a lifeline tossed into stormy seas for a roster beaten down by injuries and inconsistency. Her presence reminded them the tide could turn.
This team needs Caitlin Clark to come back in the worst way. Not only if they want to save this, if they want to even play in mid to late September. This isn't a playoff team, what we're watching right now. This isn't a playoff team. This is a Kelsey Mitchell, please save us team. Kelsey Mitchell, we need 40 and 10. 40 points, 10 assists from you every night to be in the playoffs. We need a Herculean effort in the second half. We need Lexie Hull catching fire late in the fourth quarter and in overtime for this team to continue to stay in the playoffs.
The Fever now sit at 19 wins, 18 losses, a razor-thin one-game cushion over the Sparks with just 7 contests. Left Seattle, Golden State, Chicago, Los Angeles. None of those games are freebies. One bad stretch could end the playoff dream before Clark even takes the floor. The math is brutal and the desperation is real. Indiana cannot afford to wait much longer.
We got our best indication yet that Caitlin Clark is on her way back toward a return for the Indiana Fever. That's because she was seen participating in shoot-around before the Minnesota Lynx game. Now, that doesn't mean she's playing. She's still out for that game, and she hasn't returned to full practice yet, but she is back on the court with her teammates. This coming on the heels of Stephanie White saying she hopes that Clark would return to the lineup before the regular season is out, and that when you see her participating in practice, you will know she's on the way back.
The difference without Clark is stark. Mitchell can explode, Boston can dominate the paint, but the offense doesn't flow. It fragments. Every possession without Clark feels like gears grinding without oil. The hardship, signings inject energy, but energy doesn't equal orchestration. What Clark provides is control. She bends, defenses, creates space for shooters like who, makes Boston's life easier inside and stabilizes chaos into coherent offense. That's why her return isn't just another player back. It's the difference between surviving and contending. Fans know it too. Every clip of Clark warming up every dribble. In practice, every piece of body language is dissected like a crime scene. Hope and anxiety bleed together with each video reposted online. The Fever pitch, no pun intended, grows by the day. Because deep down fans know this without her, that 8th seed could vanish in a week. With her, the Fever are suddenly a team no one wants to see in a one-game playoff.